Hey, what is up, fellow Raiders? This is Vulcan Dan, and it's the weekend again. We just finished the times 2 Ancient, and now we have another Summon Rush coming, and you know what that means. That means we have a times 10 event, and we just got news of the special champions for this times 10 event, and I have to say, I took a minute. It took me a while to think about it. Should I pull? Should I not pull? Because we have some really good champions in this mix right here. Now, the theme for this times 10 are stun champions. We have some good epics. We have some excellent legendaries as well. Personally, I have all of the epics, but I have none of the legendaries. So it's very tempting. All right, so let's start with the first one. We have Borangiri from the Shadowkin. Now he's excellent for Faction Wars, which we should get pretty soon. I think. I hope. Shadowkin Faction Wars. I'm itching to finally do that. This champion will be great for that. Has a provoke on his A1, AOE stun on his A2. You don't see that a lot. Can be booked up to a 3-turn cooldown, 60% stun. That's excellent. So that's an with a provoke, with a stun, he will be a great CC champion for Faction Wars. Plus, he has this strengthen for all allies, and he will place that extra shield if you have champions with less than 50% HP. So definitely a good champion to keep your entire team alive, to CC the enemy team. Plus, he has this nice little, very conditional passive here that heals this champion by 50% of their max HP whenever an ally or an enemy dies. So hopefully it's the enemy that dies. So this will of course keep Borangiri alive, especially like during waves. So yeah, quite a good champion for Faction Wars. So if you have him or if you want to pull him, he will be excellent for that role. Okay, next one. We have Fodbor the Bard. He has this stun right here, single target, but you can book it up to a 100% stun. If the target has no active buff, you don't get, or you don't see a lot of 100% stun here. Also has 100% chance to steal 2 random buffs from the target. So yeah, so quite a good skill there. He has a mix of stun and AoE decreased defense. Although this one is on a 4-turn cooldown, most champions have it on a 3-turn cooldown now. So he is not he's not among the top tier AoE decreased defense champions. But since the dwarves don't really have a lot of options in that department, then Fodbor the Bard is an excellent choice for that. He also has this triple hitter A1 with heal reduction, which just spells Fire Knight. So he will do well in Fire Knight with waves. And yeah, so he's an excellent champion to have for your dwarves Faction Wars. If you have him, can do some work in Fire Knight as well. All right, let's go up here for the Void to hack the Wanderer. Yeah, so he has this weird little thing that only he has in the entire game, that he does more with his skills when he is below 50% HP. Yeah, so he has this double hitter A1. Increases the cooldown of one of the target skills by 1 turn at random. So that's for each hit, 30% chance. But it increases the cooldown of all the target skills by 1 turn if this champion has less than 50% HP. So definitely don't put him in lifesteal gear. He's not going to benefit from that too much, especially with his skills. But there's not a lot of consistent way to intentionally reduce the HP of your own champs. The only thing I could think of is Gerptuck, which he places poisons on your own champs, but that's about it. Yeah, so this A1 right here is actually very useful for Iragoth, the Eternal Dragon, which is a Doom Tower boss. Not a lot of this skill is usually not effective against bosses, but Iragoth is that one exception. So if you're having a hard time with that boss, you might want to use 2-hack there. His A2 is an AoE decreased speed and places an increased speed on himself. And when he is below 50%, he will heal himself by 15% of the damage inflicted. This one hits decently hard, so pretty good skill right here. Kind of reminds me of Visix. She has that AoE decrease speed as well. And then his A3 attacks one enemy, steals 50% of the target's current turn meter. So steal. So that's an excellent skill right there. Plus has a 100% chance when booked to place a stun for 2 turns. That's a 2-turn stun. Most of the crowd control that we have in this game is just 1 turn, like 1 turn stun, 1 turn provoke. Although this is just a single target, but a 2-turn stun plus stealing the turn meter of the target will ensure that on a 4-turn cooldown when booked, that champ will probably not get a single turn if that stun lands. So very good way to, or it's a very good skill to make sure that one of the enemy's champs doesn't get a single turn or doesn't get a chance to use their skill, because of course he will 2-hack will go faster with that extra turn meter from the enemy plus the stun. And then if he is below 50% HP again, he will steal 100% of the target's turn meter instead. So an excellent skill. Definitely a very good crowd control champion in this game as well. And of course he has this decreased speed, which would make your stun target go slower. So definitely say goodbye to that enemy champ whenever you have 2-hack on your side. Yeah, so it also he has this passive that decreases the damage taken by this champ by 20% when their HP drops below 60%. So yeah, because you want him to be below 60 or 50% HP, you want him to stay alive. He does have low defense, low HP, so this passive definitely helps a lot. But still, you know, I find it very hard to get consistent value from the conditions of his skill. But yeah, just a decent champion overall in 2-hack. Last epic we have is in the Barbarians is Armina. Now, if you pair Armina with the free login legendary, which is Syl, in your Faction Wars team, the two of them play well together because of Armina's passive, which fills this champion's turn meter by 10% each time an enemy receives a stun. Now, Syl has that AoE stun, Armina has a stun on her A1, has a stun on her A3, when she fully depletes the target's turn meters. Now this will decrease the turn meter by 20%, but in the off chance that you're able to fully deplete that, which will probably happen 1 out of the 5 in the wave, depending on our RNG. But yeah, so you will get a lot of value from this passive right here, and she has this AoE decreased defense with turn meter still as well. So she does replace War Maiden in your Faction Wars team as the decreased defense champ. So she is excellent. I do have her in my own Faction Wars. Speaking of War Maiden, I would love to see her go, you know, in one of those raid ads, go one-on-one with War Maiden in a sort of brawl. No, I just want to see that as sort of a wrestling match and see who would win, Armina versus War Maiden. All right, but enough of that. Let's get to the legendaries, and these are tempting me to pull during this times 10. I probably will not. I don't have a lot of shards left, but yeah. First one, Nethril. Nethril has this triple hitter poison in his A1, AoE stun, and if the stun was not placed, he places the decreased speed instead, and he has this AoE decreased turn meter, which this decreases the turn meter by 75%. It reminds me of Razin Scarhide's A3, which is similar, but that one decreases turn meter by 100%. Although this one can be booked to a 4-turn, Razin Scarhide is on a 6-turn cooldown even when booked. So I would prefer Nethril's over Razin's any day. But yeah, his stun is right here. It's an AoE 75% chance when booked, 4-turn cooldown. Nethril is excellent in keeping enemy waves stunned or decreases their turn meter. And of course, for clan boss, he will just use his A1 over and over again and place all of those poisons. Have giant slayer procs, so he is excellent in a lot of areas in the game. And before, when raid first started, Netheril was a very popular champion. Now with all of the new legendaries, he doesn't get a lot of screen time. You know, we don't talk about Netheril a lot, but even with the new champs that came in, he's still a very solid still one of the best legendary champions in my opinion, and I would love to have him as part of my Faction Wars team, but unfortunately I don't. But yeah, it's very tempting. Right, next one, let's go to the Lizardmen. We have Fushan. I was just talking about him for the Galen Pact only Fire Knight because he is excellent for the Fire Knight. All of his skills can hit multiple times. This A1 with the 25% chance of placing an extra hit. This one is an AoE 2-hitter. Each hit has a 20% chance of placing a stun debuff for one turn. If this looks similar, or if this looks familiar, this is because this is basically a photocopy from Sill's A2, which is also a 20%, it can be booked to a 35% chance stun AoE that hits twice. Yeah, so they have the same skill there. His A3, it's a 4-hitter, 4 random hitter, decreased defense. Now it's not, I'm not a big fan of this skill because of course AoE decreased defense is still better, but when you're fighting a boss and there are no adds, all 4 of those hits will of course hit the boss, and if it's the Fire Knight, then you'll have a 4-hitter. So this is a good skill for boss fights. Not a fan of this skill for waves. I would of course prefer his A2 for the stun, but he has this nice passive here. I mean, nice aura. Increases ally speed in all battles by 24%. Fushan, an excellent champion. I would love to have him. So which is why I'm so tempted for this times 10 event. Next, Night Revs, Void Legendary, Soulless. Soulless is all about CC. Stun A1. Provoke A2 3 times at random, and AoE, which increases the duration of all debuffs on each target by 1 turn, then places a provoke on all enemies for 1 turn. Excellent. And then this thing right here, damage increases by 10% for each debuff on the target. If you have 10 debuffs on the target, you're basically dealing an extra 100% damage, which is double. So that's double the damage AoE. So this can hit extremely hard. I would love to have the chance to play with a champion like this with a lot of provoke, a lot of stun. Unfortunately, he is a Void Legendary, so even among the high spenders, I don't think a lot of players have Soulless, so it might be a long time before, or I might never get him because I don't spend on this game. But yeah, if I do pull him, definitely I will have a lot of fun playing around with him. And last one, but definitely not the least, and is probably the superstar of this event. Everyone knows Trunda, of course. Armina, you would hate to go against a Trunda. She hits like an absolute truck. She has this stun on her A1, which a lot of people actually forget that she has this stun on her A1. Her A2 attacks 1, but then attacks all other enemies with a second hit, dealing 60% of the damage inflicted for the first hit. This hits hard, but it's her A3 right here. AoE has the stun, but people don't actually use her for the stun. They use her for this one right here, places an extra hit on enemies not under stun debuff. So people don't build her with accuracy. They make her accuracy as low as possible so that she doesn't land those stuns, so that she will have a double hitter for the A3, and it's basically a guaranteed nuke on all. And unless you have an unkillable buff or something, or really crazy shields, your entire team will go down with 1 hit from this skill, Forge Rhythm. Yeah, excellent. I don't have Trunda as well. Really tempted to pull. I probably won't, you know. I don't have a lot of shards right now. And of course, these times 10 events are usually you would want to go for these if you're looking for the epics, because we just have a 0.5% chance for ancients and voids, and a 6% chance for sacreds, which is not a big chance at all, but you do have a decent chance to pull an epic. So if you really want one of the epics, Borangiri, Armina, Tuhak, or Fodbor the Bard, then okay, yeah. If you really want a stun champ, then go for this. Try to get the epics, but don't expect a legendary unless you're willing to pull like 50, 60 ancient shards, which I don't think is it's not advisable during a times 10. Wait for that times 2. Even for sacreds, I only have 10 sacred shards, and we do have a times 2 sacred shard coming up after this times 10 if Plarium goes by their regular schedule. So I want to save these 10 sacreds for that particular event. But yes, I'm not going to lie, I was very tempted. Trunda, Fushan, Soulless, Nethril. Yeah, but I don't know about you, but if you're planning to pull shards, I wish you luck. I wish you get that epic or legendary that you want. And let me know down in the comment section below which of these champs do you want. Are you pulling shards or not? But whether you are or not, I wish you all the luck in the world. And the most important thing is you're having fun with the game. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.